What happens when one of the greatest poets of our generation walks away from everything, fame, fortune, music, love, and disappears into a freezing monastery at 60 years old? What kind of pain drives a man to shave his head, take a vow of silence, and spend 5 years scrubbing toilets on a frozen mountain? And what did Leonard Cohen find up there in that silence that would create some of the most beautiful music the world has ever heard? This is not a story about giving up. This is a story about breaking down completely so you can rebuild yourself from nothing. If you want to discover the untold stories behind music's most transformative moments, subscribe now. Hit that notification bell because we're about to reveal what really happened during Leonard Cohen's 5 years of silence. August 9th, 1994. Los Angeles International Airport, 5:47 a.m. Leonard Cohen stood in the terminal with a single canvas bag. No entourage, no assistants, no press. Just a 60-year-old man in a dark suit boarding a plane to nowhere. To the outside world, Leonard Cohen had everything. He was a living legend, a poet, a singer-songwriter whose songs had defined generations. Suzanne, Hallelujah, Bird on a Wire. His voice had become the soundtrack to people's deepest emotions. But Leonard Cohen was dying inside. Not physically, worse, spiritually, emotionally. He was suffocating under the weight of his own existence. "I couldn't get out of bed," Leonard would say years later. "Not because I was lazy, but because I couldn't see the point. What's the point of anything when you feel absolutely nothing?" Depression had been Leonard's companion for decades, but by 1994, it had stopped being a companion and had become his prison. He'd tried everything: therapy, medication, relationships, travel, work. Nothing worked. His manager kept calling, "Leonard, the tour, the album, people are waiting." Leonard stopped answering the phone. His lover, actress Rebecca De Mornay, tried to help. "Tell me what you need. Tell me how to reach you." But Leonard couldn't be reached. He was somewhere else, somewhere dark, somewhere even he couldn't explain. One morning, he woke up in his Los Angeles home and realized something terrifying. He'd forgotten to feel. Not just happiness or sadness, everything. He was numb, empty, a walking corpse in an expensive suit. And that's when he made the decision. If he couldn't find meaning in the world, maybe he could find it by leaving the world entirely. Mount Baldy, 6,000 feet above sea level, San Gabriel Mountains, California. The Mount Baldy Zen Center wasn't a luxury retreat. It wasn't some celebrity detox spa where famous people went to find themselves before returning to their mansions. This was a real monastery, hard, cold, unforgiving. Winter temperatures dropped to -20 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind cut through clothes like knives. Monks woke at 2:30 a.m. every single day. No heating, no comfort, no escape. Leonard had been visiting Mount Baldy occasionally since 1971, studying under Kyozan Joshu Sasaki Roshi, an 87-year-old Zen master who didn't care who Leonard Cohen was. To Roshi, Leonard was just another student, another ego that needed to be destroyed. But this time was different. This wasn't a visit. Leonard arrived with his single bag, walked up to Roshi and said, "I'm staying." Roshi looked at him for a long moment, then said, "Good, go clean the bathroom." No ceremony, no welcome speech, just clean the bathroom. And Leonard Cohen, the man who'd performed for millions, who'd slept with beautiful women, who'd written poetry that made people cry, got on his hands and knees and scrubbed toilets. 3 months into his stay, Leonard underwent the Jikan ceremony, the formal ordination as a Zen monk. Roshi gave him a new name, Jikan. It means ordinary silence or normal silence. Leonard's head was shaved, his expensive clothes were replaced with simple robes, his guitar stayed silent, his poetry remained unwritten. Jikan woke at 2:30 a.m. every morning. He meditated for hours in freezing meditation halls. He performed menial tasks, cooking, cleaning, maintaining the grounds. He sat in silence for days at a time. But here's what people don't understand about Leonard's time at Mount Baldy. He wasn't running away from his depression. He was running toward it. "I wanted to face it," Leonard explained later. "All my life I'd been escaping into drugs, into sex, into music, into words. But Roshi taught me that the only way through suffering is to sit with it, to look it in the eye, to stop running." Every morning, Jikan would sit in the meditation hall as the sun rose over the frozen mountains. His knees ached, his back screamed, his mind rioted with thoughts, regrets, fears, doubts, memories. And Roshi would walk behind the meditating monks with a stick. If someone's posture slipped, if their focus wavered, Roshi would strike them on the shoulder. Not hard, but enough to wake them up. One morning, Roshi hit Leonard 3 times in a row. After meditation, Leonard approached him. "Roshi, what am I doing wrong?" Roshi looked at him with ancient eyes. "You're trying to be someone. Stop trying. Just be." Leonard didn't understand. Not then. Year 2. Winter. The depression hadn't gone away. Leonard had hoped that meditation, discipline, and spiritual practice would cure him. But sitting in silence for hours each day didn't make the darkness disappear. Sometimes it made it worse, because in silence there's nowhere to hide. All the things Leonard had spent his life avoiding, shame, failure, inadequacy, mortality, they all came flooding in. He wrote in his journal, one of the few possessions he kept, "I am drowning in a sea of nothing. The meditation doesn't help. The practice doesn't help. I am still empty, still broken, still lost." Other monks noticed Leonard struggling. They saw him during late-night walking meditation, tears streaming down his face in the freezing cold. One monk, a young American named David, approached him one night. "Are you okay, Jikan?" Leonard looked at him. "I don't know what okay means anymore." "Then maybe that's progress," David said. "Maybe not knowing is the beginning of knowing." Leonard wanted to believe that, but mostly he just wanted to stop hurting. There were nights when Leonard considered leaving, just walking down the mountain, getting in his car, returning to Los Angeles, back to his old life, back to distractions. But something kept him there. Not hope exactly, more like stubbornness, a refusal to quit. Even if he couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, he was determined to walk the tunnel all the way through. Year 3, Spring. something shifted. Leonard was performing his morning duties, raking the gravel in the meditation garden. It was tedious work, boring, repetitive, exactly the kind of task that used to drive his ambitious mind crazy. But this morning, something was different. As Leonard raked the gravel into perfect patterns, he noticed he wasn't thinking about anything. His mind wasn't wandering to the past or the future. He wasn't composing lyrics. He wasn't analyzing his emotions. He was just raking, fully present, fully absorbed, fully alive in this simple, meaningless task. And in that moment, Leonard Cohen experienced something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not happiness, not joy, just peace. A quiet acceptance of being exactly where he was, doing exactly what he was doing. That night, Leonard sat with Roshi for tea. "I think I understand now," Leonard said quietly. "Understand what?" Roshi asked, pouring green tea into Leonard's cup. "Why you had me scrubbing toilets and raking gravel. You were teaching me that meaning isn't something you find, it's something you create. Every moment, every action, even the smallest ones." Roshi smiled, a rare expression on his weathered face. "You're finally becoming Jikan, ordinary, silent, present." "But I'm still depressed, Roshi. The darkness is still there." "Of course it is," Roshi said. "The darkness is part of you. But now you know something important. You are not the darkness. You can observe it, you can sit with it, and it cannot destroy you."
Year 4. Something unexpected happened. Leonard started hearing music again. Not external music, internal music. Melodies would appear during meditation. Lyrics would form during his manual labor. Words would arrange themselves into verses as he walked the frozen mountain paths. He'd tried to kill the artist inside him. He'd tried to silence the poet. But art isn't something you can destroy. It's something that lives in you, waiting. Leonard began writing again, not deliberately, not ambitiously, just because words came. He wrote on scraps of paper, in margins of books, on the backs of meditation schedules. Short verses, fragments, images. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. These weren't songs yet. They were just observations, truths learned from sitting in silence for years. Roshi found Leonard's poem on a piece of paper in the kitchen. He read it, folded it carefully, and handed it back to Leonard. "Good. Now throw it away." Leonard was confused. Why? Because if you can write it and throw it away, then you know it came from truth, not from ego. Truth doesn't need to be kept, it just needs to be expressed. Leonard threw the poem away. Then he wrote another one, and another.
January 1999. 5 years had passed. Leonard stood in Roshi's room. "I think it's time for me to leave." Roshi nodded slowly. "Yes, your work here is finished." "What was my work?" Leonard asked. "To stop running," Roshi said simply. "And now that you've stopped running, you can start walking." Leonard bowed deeply. "Thank you, Roshi, for everything." Roshi waved his hand dismissively.
I did nothing. You did the work. Now go. The world needs Leonard Cohen again, but not the old Leonard Cohen, the new one. On his last morning at Mount Baldy, Leonard woke at 2:30 a.m. as usual. He meditated one final time in the hall that had been his home for 5 years. He cleaned the bathroom one last time. He raked the gravel one last time. Then he packed his single bag, walked down the mountain, and drove back to Los Angeles. But he wasn't the same man who'd left 5 years earlier. The depression was still there. It would always be there. But now Leonard had tools to work with it. He had perspective, he had acceptance, and he had music again.
Leonard Cohen released his first album in 9 years, 10 new songs. The critics were stunned. This wasn't the old Leonard Cohen, the smooth, seductive voice crooning about love and loss. This was something else, something deeper, something that had been forged in silence and suffering. Every song on the album carried the weight of those 5 years, the acceptance of darkness, the embrace of imperfection, the beauty of ordinary moments. Boogie Street captured his experience perfectly. So come, my friends, be not afraid. We are so lightly here. It is in love that we are made. In love we disappear. Journalists asked him about Mount Baldy, about the 5 years of silence, about what he'd learned. Leonard's answer was always the same. I learned that you can't escape yourself, but you can make peace with yourself, and that's enough.
Leonard Cohen would go on to create some of his greatest work in his final years. Albums like Old Ideas, 2012, and You Want It Darker, 2016, were masterpieces, the work of a man who'd stared into the abyss and survived. But none of it would have been possible without those 5 years on Mount Baldy, without learning to scrub toilets, without learning to rake gravel, without learning to sit with his pain, without learning that ordinary silence is holy. In 2016, just weeks before his death, Leonard gave his final interview. The journalist asked him, "Do you regret those 5 years? 5 years of silence when you could have been making music?" Leonard smiled. "Those 5 years weren't silent. They were the loudest years of my life, because I finally learned to listen." On November 7, 2016, Leonard Cohen died peacefully in his Los Angeles home. He was 82 years old. But his music, especially the music created after Mount Baldy, continues to reach millions because it carries something that most art doesn't carry: genuine wisdom earned through suffering.
Today, Mount Baldy Zen Center still operates. Monks still wake at 2:30 a.m. They still scrub toilets and rake gravel. They still sit in freezing meditation halls trying to find what Leonard found. Roshi passed away in 2014 at the age of 107. His final words to his students were, "Each moment, life as it is the only teacher." In Leonard's former room at the monastery, there's no plaque, no memorial, no sign that one of the greatest artists of the 20th century lived there for 5 years. Just an empty room, clean, simple, ordinary, exactly how Leonard would have wanted it. If this story moved you,
If Leonard's journey resonates with your own struggles, subscribe and hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to break down, that it's okay to step away, that silence isn't emptiness, it's where we find our truest voice. Comment below with your own experiences of transformation. And don't forget that notification bell for more untold stories of the legends who taught us that the journey inward is the most important journey of all.